What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the TCG Empire YouTube channel. Today we are going over Final Standings Friday. If you're new here, you're not sure what it is. It's where we take the deck of the week and kind of talk about how I feel, the deck works in the meta, how I feel it's placed in the meta, things like that. This week we did talk about Lost Zone Giratina, and I have to say that the deck is powerful, but its biggest flaw is that it kind of loses to itself. With playing the Giratina, you do have a big attacker, but in the sense of Turbo versus Giratina, when you play Giratina, you're also putting cards in the list that might not be as sufficient when it comes to, certain matchups like one prizer decks, as we talked about on Tech Tuesday. And so Giratina kind of falls short in that aspect. And when you're running Lostina, sometimes there's a lot of pieces that you need to find, and so when you're lost zoning things, you really have to be careful of what you're getting rid of. Like any Lost Box deck, you really do have to be careful of what you get rid of, but there's a lot more leniency with certain builds such as Turbo, but when you're playing Giratina, there's almost no room for error. And when it comes down to it, sometimes the draws with Giratina are not the best. It's very hand reliant, as my buddy Matt says. He mentioned that when it comes to the meta, a lot of it is board state based, but with Giratina and Lost Box specifically, when you're playing, the build that's in this video, the cross switcher build, which has been doing well, you're really putting pressure on having the go-to opening hand. And if you don't see that, your board state really kind of falls short. And you'll see in this video, I only start with one comfy, so it really kind of shows the essence of worrying so much and having to, have an attacker that you build up a turn after you bench the Giratina versus something like Turbo Lost Box where you swing with Sableye, you have things you can power up in one turn that hit big damage. It is good, but it definitely falls short when it comes to the consistency aspect. There's a lot of things, like I said, you don't want a Lost Box, you don't want a Lost Zone, and there's also kind of no room for error because when it comes down to it, if you do make those errors or you get rid of things that you might need later on, you're really punished for it. And you have to be a lot more critical of how you use your Lost Zone and how you use your Mirage Gates and things like that. So overall, I think this deck is strong and I can understand why it's doing so well. But if you're going to play Giratina, I think you'll have the best, time playing it if you play it with Arc. Because Arc with being able to use Starbirth means that you can kind of set things up and you're able to do a consistent 280 damage versus trying to get 10 in the Lost Zone into Star Requiem, into Sableye, and things like that. It just sometimes is a little bit trickier. You might think that having more pieces available to you is better in the sense that, when you're at 10, rather than just strictly having Sableye, you have Star Requiem and Sableye. But sometimes having those options can also add clunk when it comes to the deck, and I think that's one of the places where the deck suffers. Especially, as I said before, having an evolution line as your main attacker really struggles. And within Lostina, you're really only running one Cramorant and two Sableye, so there's no real backup attackers. You're kind of fully committing to Giratina, and that can kind of take up space and become clunky. And like I said, especially versus one prizing decks, it does get very difficult. I will say, though, that the deck is a lot of fun, and when you're able to pull off Star Requiem and cross switchers and things like that, it's a lot of fun. But overall, the deck's, like I said, it's fun. It's not really my playstyle, which is probably why I'm not going to play it again on the channel, but I did want to at least showcase it because it has been getting some hype lately. But other than that, I think that's really it. So if you guys do enjoy today's video, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Be sure to watch the rest of the gameplay. It's pretty good. We're playing against Zach in it, so shout out to Zach for helping me. But yeah, as I said, if you enjoy it, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Otherwise, I will catch you guys on next week's Meta Monday.